it's Asha at BookishRealm, and I am back with another video. So as you can see from the title of this series, this is 15 plus, because I don't even know the exact number, but I do number it's over 15 comics, manga, and graphic novels that I want to finish before 2021. This is an incredibly huge feat, especially to be trying to do something like this and it's already almost July. However, I really need to catch up on these series, or I need to start and finish them because they just have either been sitting on my shelf or they've been in my to read list for a long time. Comics, graphic novels, and manga usually play a huge role in palette cleansers for me in between regular prose books that I'm reading, so I really enjoy them. I am not the end-all be-all when it comes to comics, graphic novels, and manga, but I do read a lot of them. I think my goal this year was to read at least 50, and I think I'm halfway through that goal, so we're making good progress here. So I'm going to do the manga first, then we'll do the graphic novels, and I will save the comics for last. The first manga series that I need to catch up on is the Ancient Magus Bride by Amazake, and this is one I think I read last year and really enjoyed it at my job. I was doing the manga and anime club for our teens, and we started watching the Ancient Magus Bride, and I was like, oh gosh, the anime is so good. And then I was like, you know what, let me read the manga, and I am so happy that I did. If you didn't know, the Ancient Magus Bride is about a young girl by the name of Cheese, I'm probably saying her name wrong, who is a penniless orphan that is sold on an auction block to a ancient magus, and he takes her in and he's supposed to be training her for the future of possibly becoming his wife, which seems kind of weird, but I think it's done really well. I just need to collect the rest of the volumes and binge and catch up. The next manga series that I have here is Judge, and Judge is by Yoshiki Tsunaga, and this is one that I think I've read the first 2 volumes of the series, and I don't have the rest of the collection. But this reminds me a lot of like Saw, where these individuals have been taken to this place. Everybody's wearing these weird mask, and they are being judged, and it's like a courthouse for things that they've done wrong, and it is really good. I can't remember much about it, which is why I need to go back, because I feel like I've even read volume 1 twice, but I need to go back and read all of them. And then there's another series called Doubt. I think I own that at one time, but I can't remember, but I do know that I at least want to finish this series this year. The next one that I have here is Alice in the Country of Hearts by Quinn. This is volume number 1. I have not seen a lot of people talk about this. I believe that this is an older series that was done by Yen Press that has a spinoff, and it is nothing more than a retelling of Alice in Wonderland. I have not, which is so crazy, y'all, I have never read Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, but I love spinoffs, and I think that's just because I love the movie adaptations. I've seen at least 3 or 4 movie adaptations of Alice in Wonderland. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, this might be really interesting. But I've had this on my shelf for like 3 or 4 years, and I still haven't picked it up. So I think it's time that maybe I do pick it up. The next one that I have here is Food Wars by Yuto Tsukuda. You guys know that I am a huge Food Wars junkie. It is my favorite shonen manga of all times. It is so great. It is about these kids who go to this elite Japanese cooking school, and they are pitted against each other and they have to compete. If you have ever seen the Food Network show Iron Chef, then it kind of has that feel to it where they're going head to head and it's a competition. I love this so much. I'm currently doing a reread of all the volumes I've read. I think I've read up to like 22 or 23, and I'm currently doing a reread of all the volumes because my goodness, I just love it that much. And I know that it is finished, like it has completely been finished in Japan. I don't remember if all of the translations have been done yet here in the United States, but I do know that the series is finished. So I need to finish this, catch up on the anime, because I've watched seasons 1 and 2 so much, but I think I've only watched season 3 halfway through. So ooh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I've done so many reviews of this. I think I reviewed volumes 1 through 10 and then maybe like 11 through 14 on this channel, so I'll make sure that I either link them in the card symbol or down in the description box below. The next manga series that I have is Kitchen Princess, and this is by Natsumi Ando, and I read this first volume for the first time last year. I had to think about that. When I think about the actual thumbnail, I remember that I had my hair done a certain way because it was around the time of my baby shower. So yeah, I actually really enjoyed this and thought it was super complex, or a lot more complex than what I anticipated, because the cover kind of makes you think it's just like cutesy, but it's not. It covers some deep topics. And I have these bind-ups, these omnibus bind-ups would have 2 volumes, and I think there's 6 of them. So I do have the second one, but I need to get the rest of them. It is about this young girl who ends up meeting this guy when she's young who makes her flan, and he has this emotional impact on her because she's having such a tough time. So she goes to this patisserie school actually looking for this guy and meets him, and then that's where things kind of go off, and it's really, really good. I've done a first impressions of this one, and I'll link that video in the card symbol above. And the last manga that I have on the list should be no surprise to anyone, and that is Nana by Ayazawa. I just read volume 5, which I talked about in my mid-month wrap-up. This is such a complex and such a beautifully done manga series. I have been holding off and not wanting to finish this because it is on hiatus. It has been on hiatus for over 10 years. I don't think it's ever going to be finished, but it is one of the best manga series that I have ever read. The anime is fabulous, so I think that I just need to prepare myself for whatever the ending may be in the last volume that's currently out, and maybe one day before I die Ayazawa will actually decide to finish it. If you didn't know, Nana is about 2 girls by the name of Nana. They meet on a train as they're both headed to Tokyo for different reasons. I love that they have complementary personalities. One of the Nanas is very much put together, is in a band, is trying to heal herself after a romance that had ended. But the other Nana is trying to discover who she is and her place in life, and she's a little less together, but they just work so well together as friends. And I absolutely love the journeys that they take together and the friendship that is built between the 2 of them and the love that is shared between the 2 of them. And some parts of this manga are so heartbreaking and gut-wrenching because it's real life things that happen. So yeah, super excited. The next one that I have here is Stargazing by Jen Wang, and Jen Wang is the same author that wrote The Prince and The Dressmaker and In Real Life. And this one is a middle grade graphic novel, and it is about 2 girls that identify as the Chinese American, Christine and Moon. And Moon moves in next door to Christine, and they develop this friendship, and things actually end up going wrong, and then it's a test to see whether Christine can actually be the friend that Moon really needs. I have not read anything by Jen Wang, but I've had this one checked out from the library for a while, and I had not had the chance to pick it up and read it, so I'm really excited to read it. The artwork is beautiful, and my coworker read this one and she said that she really enjoyed it. The next one that I have here is another middle grade graphic novel, and it is Monster Mayhem by Christopher Elia Poulos. And it is a sci-fi graphic novel about a young girl by the name of Zoe, and she doesn't have any friends of her own, and she's okay with that. And then she finds this mysterious ring, she puts it on, and there's this monster that comes into the picture that she ends up being friends with, and then she discovers that not all the monsters that come from the ring are friendly, and I guess an adventure ensues after that. I randomly picked this one up. I had never heard of it before, but it was on our shelves and I was like, so why not just, you know, pick it up and maybe give it a try. So this is one that I definitely want to get to before the year's over with. The next one that I have here is Batman Overdrive, and this is another middle grade graphic novel. I was sent this by DC as part of their DC Zoom line. I have read quite a few of their other ones, but I want to do a full review on all of the DC Zoom books that I have acquired, and this is not the only one that I want to read, but this is just the one that I was able to find in the moment. They're scattered throughout my house, but I'm super excited to pick this one up. This one is about Batman, even though Batman is not my favorite DC character by far because he doesn't have superpowers. Batman has money. That's what makes him a superhero, and it sucks. But I want to see how DC does change his character for a middle grade audience. All right, so let's move on to the comics. The first comic series that I have here is The Wicked and the Divine. I'm so excited for this. Okay, so I've actually read all the way up to volume 6 of The Wicked and the Divine. I've only owned the first 3 volumes, and I feel like I've read the first 2 volumes twice a piece. It's so unfortunate because every time I go to reread them, I never finish them because I don't want the series to end, even though it has already ended, and I need to finally just go ahead and binge it. If you did not know, The Wicked and the Divine is about these gods that come back every 90 years. They take over the bodies of humans that are already on Earth, and they live for 2 years, and then they spontaneously combust. And there's some mystery elements that happen with this, but the artwork in this is so beautiful. I know that that's why a lot of people enjoy this, but look at that artwork, okay? It is gorgeous. So this is one that I definitely need to finish. I need to buy the rest of the volumes and go ahead and just binge it. The next one that I have here is Chew by John Layman and Rob Guillory. This is volume 2, International Flavor. I have volume 1 somewhere around here. This is a comic book series that focuses on Tony Chew, who I think he works for the FBI, and he actually can taste human flesh and tell you how someone has been murdered, and that's because of the fact that he can taste food and tell you exactly where it comes from. So this series is based around people who have these foodie type powers. It is the strangest thing, but I really enjoyed it. I got up to volume 7 or 8 of this series and I just never finished it, and I need to collect the rest of the volumes. But if you've never heard of Chew, I would highly recommend checking it out. The next one that I have is actually like 5 series tied into one. It is the craziest thing ever, but it's one that I've talked about a lot on this channel as well, and that is the Fable series by Bill Willingham. This is a fairy tale retelling series. It's about these group of individuals that are fables, like Cinderella, Snow White, the Big Bad Wolf, Little Red Riding Hood, Little Boy Blue. They all have traveled from their former land because the adversary has been attacking them and has been killing them. So they moved to New York and they live under a disguise, and this is about their journey in trying to defeat the adversary and find a place that they could call home. This series is so long and complex, y'all. So you have the main series, which is Fables. There's a spin-off series that is Jack of Fables. Then there is a spin-off series called Fairest. And then there is a spin-off series called Cinderella. There is a spin-off series called Ever After. And then there's a spin-off series that is about the Big Bad Wolf. So this is 6 different series tied into one, and these are not just like single volumes. Like, I think the main series itself is like 22 or 23 volumes, and then Jack of Fables I think is anywhere between like 9 to 11. So these are pretty long series, but this is one that I've been slowly rereading. I want to get through most of this one by 2021. I don't think I'll be able to finish this by 2021 because it's just a long and complex world. The next series that I have is Morning-Glories. I think I've talked about this on my channel a little bit, and this is by Spencer. I think somebody from this has done the artwork, I believe, in or is maybe is part of the Wicked and Divine. I can't remember because the artwork is so similar in between the two series, but I could be so wrong about that. Morning-Glories is a boarding school sci-fi weird type comic book series. I, to this day, still have a little bit of trouble understanding what goes on in this series. I think I've only gotten up to volume 4, but it's these kids who go to this boarding school, then all of a sudden their parents forget that they even had kids, and then there's like these weird things going on at the school that the kids are trying to figure out. And the writing in this is kind of strange. There's 10 volumes out right now, and I own all of them, so I could easily binge this, but this is currently on a hiatus. I don't know if it's ever going to come back, because I think towards like the middle and end of the series, people had some issues with it, but it's one that I do need to catch up on, because if I own all 10, like, why not just go ahead and read them? The next one that I have here is The Woods by James Tynion IV. This is a science fiction comic book series. I think I got up to volume maybe 3 or 4 of this one, and it's about these kids who go to school one day and their high school is randomly transported to this different planet where there's aliens and weird things that happen, a weird different group of things that look like humans. I really enjoyed the series. I don't know why I haven't completed it. I think it may be finished, but I'm not sure. I do know that there's 9 volumes of this out now, so 8 or 9 volumes of this, so I need to get on this. The artwork in this one is really great too. I think I like the coloring more so than just the drawings. I do like the coloring of this comic book series. I think the colors that they use are just absolutely gorgeous. The next series that I have here is the Unwritten, and this is by Mike Carey and Peter Gross. This is one that I haven't seen really anybody talk about, and I really want to find out if someone's read it because I need to get their thoughts on it. But The Unwritten is about this guy named Tommy Taylor, who is actually the subject of a children's series. His dad based the books off of him, or just used his name, but his dad didn't have a relationship with him. And then there's some weird things that kind of make you believe that Tommy Taylor may be more connected to the book than what he thinks, like part of the book type of scenario. And this all has to do with like storytelling and storybook characters coming to life, and it is very interesting. I think I only got up to volume 4 of this series, and I got a little confused in reading it, so I definitely want to go back and read this one. This one is also completed, and I think it has about 8 or 9 volumes. I could not make this list without including Saga. So Saga is one that we talk about a lot here on BookTube. It is a fan favorite. I have stopped reading Saga because I would binge and then have to wait forever for the next trade to come out, and it just would drive me absolutely crazy to have to wait for the next trade. Unfortunately, I've heard that the last volume, which I think is volume 9, before it went on hiatus, broke people's hearts. It hurt a lot of people's feelings. So I'm so apprehensive now about reading it, but I'm also excited to get to it and completely just binge the series. This is one that I have thoroughly enjoyed. I think I've read up to maybe volume 5 or 6, one of the two. So if you didn't know, which I think most people do, but Saga is a comic book series about this intergalactical war that's going on because you have 2 species that are fighting, and our 2 main characters are from 2 species that do not get along, and they're not supposed to be together, but they get together, they have a child, and now the entire universe is after them. It has very much so like Romeo and Juliet type vibes to it. I don't know if anybody else has ever gotten this vibes, but it definitely has like Romeo and Juliet type vibes to it, but it is so pivotal. Brian K. Vaughan is one of my favorite comic book writers of all time. I have read Paper Girls by him, Saga, I have read Why the Last Man by him, and I'm about to show you another series by him that I need to binge and finish. And that comic book series is The Runaways. If you have not known, Hulu actually has an adaptation of this, which I didn't really enjoy. I'm very weary of comic book adaptations now because I read comics so heavily, and every time I see an adaptation, I'm like, what are y'all doing? You have plenty of source material, and this is exactly what you try to do with it. So this is one that they adapted. I'm not a fan of the adaptation. I've watched most of it, but it's just not my thing. But this is the original series. I know Rainbow Rowell, I believe, did a version of it. I'm not gonna read it. I'm gonna stick to the original source material, which I think has been reprinted from these volumes. I think they've been made into bigger trades, but I have the original ones, and it's about these kids who essentially learn some things that their parents are doing that is extremely strange. They learned that they have, some of them may have some gifts that they didn't know were there, and it's about them teaming up to figure out what is going on. And of course it's great because it's Brian K. Vaughan. Like, I think maybe I just need to do just a video on Brian K. Vaughan's works, because everything he puts out is pretty solid. Like, it's pretty much gold standard to me, because this is the 4th series that I've read from him, and yeah. But I do want to finish this one this year because I have most of the volumes, I believe. I'm looking at my shelf across the room. I think I have most of the volumes on my shelf, but if not, I'll be definitely hunting for whatever ones I don't have. All right, y'all, so that's it. I'm so sorry that was so long, but those are some comic book series, graphic novels, and manga that I really want to focus on getting to and finishing by the end of the year. I do know that some of them I'm not going to be able to finish because it just is going to be too much, specifically talking about like Fables and maybe yeah, Fables and maybe Food Wars. My Food Wars reread may drag me into 2021, but these are ones that I really need to keep up for the rest of the year. So if you guys have any comics, manga, or graphic novel suggestions that you want to give me, let me know in the comment box below. I'm always looking for new ones to try out. And if you've read these before, let me know in the comment box below what you thought about them. Please, no spoilers, just for those who are watching that have never read these before. If you want to talk about them, feel free to like message me on Twitter or Instagram or something like that. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, click the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. I upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. All my social media links will be down in the description box below, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.